So if you are here, you probably want to know if it's worth buying Remnant 2 for $50, or, you saw the thumbnail and you already bought the game and you're mad as shit. Regardless, you're here and you're going to get a full review on this shooter that came out about a week ago. Now, I've played through the game for about 40 hours. I'm pretty much done with the main campaign, and I understand the roots of the game enough to present a full review for it. So I don't want to waste your time or your money. Let's get into the review. Remnant 2 is the sequel to a pretty good game that launched in 2019 called Remnant from the Ashes. This game is kind of like Dark Souls with guns. You know what? Actually, that's exactly what the game is. You clear areas, kill bosses, rest at bonfires, or the World Stone, same shit, and repeat until eventually you're done with the game. But like I said, the main difference in this game is you have a Glock, and in Dark Souls, unfortunately, there were no Glocks.
Parry this, you filthy casual.
And while this might sound really fun so far, I'm gonna have to stop you right there, alright? This game was not ready for release, okay? And therefore, you should not buy it. But why, Treylo? It has good reviews. Why shouldn't I buy it? Optimization. Yup. Some companies don't know what the fuck this word means. Hey, so the game's almost done. All the gameplay features have been developed. Sounds good. Great work. Have you tried playing it through? No, sir. Okay, well, great. Let's release it tomorrow. Now, Remnant 2 isn't a terrible looking game, okay? It's, it's around average. But nothing to the point where my 3080 can't get more than 42 frames on low settings. That's right. For more than 80% of the time I was playing the game, I was below 60 FPS. Like, how could they have fucked up this badly? Did they not test the game at all? Usually optimization isn't a reason to straight up not buy a game, but in this case it very much is. In a Dark Souls game where deaths can be catastrophic and lead to having to clear an entire area over again, or when stuttering is affecting your perception of combat, the frames cannot be this low. I died so many times by just being on 25 frames during a boss fight, and it's just more infuriating than it is fun. I don't want you to have to go through that, okay? I already broke 2 keys on my keyboard, right? There's no coming back from that. Gunfire games just needs to be on the top of your list to fix, by next week. The combat in Remnant is not really a massive upgrade from the first game. The combat in Remnant 1 wasn't bad, but I feel like there could have been a few more tweaks to the gunplay that just could have made it better easily, because it's really just the same shit. And the melee combat wasn't really improved either, and this is what I was hoping for the most detail on. In Remnant 2, you have 3 weapons: your primary, your secondary, and your melee. And the fact that 1/3 of the game feels like a fucking wiffle bat simulator is not fun to me. It just feels like the melee was an afterthought to the developers this time around, and that's just disappointing overall. But getting back to the guns, it's solid. Nothing super fancy, nothing really improved, but maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I don't really have any big complaints, but now, why did they remove upgrading armor? This makes no fucking sense. In fact, a lot of the progression in the game was downgraded significantly. Obviously, as you progress further into the game, enemies and shit scale, but you can't upgrade your armor. You can only find better armor. Now, you might say, hey, that's fine, but sometimes better armor isn't always around. Most of the armor is shit in the first place, which means the only thing that you can upgrade and scale in this game is the damage that you output with your weapons. And this just feels weak overall. It takes away from a major part of the game. They also capped the amount of points that you can put into your traits. That's right, in the old game, whenever you got skill points, you could infinitely put them into whatever category you wanted to, allowing you to really customize your own build to your liking. But in this game, it's capped to 9. After that, you have to choose to put your skill points into a different category. And this really makes the customization of your build feel limited. I'm really not a big fan of this decision, and it takes away from the progression a lot when you get to the end game. But let's get into what's actually good about Remnant 2, because this is a good game. It just has problems. First is the enemy diversity, okay? Absolutely fantastic. In the first game, there was variety, but all the enemies felt so similar, it didn't really matter. They were all the same tree fucking root enemies and shit. And the root were cool and all, but they were fucking trees. But this game just feels like the new enemies never stop. Sometimes you'll go to a new area and only see one type of enemy, kill it once, and you'll never see it in the game again. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I like fighting robots, weird zombies, and just more out there in the world than ever before. This means you have to be more cautious too and adaptive to enemy abilities. Okay, and the boss fights, alright, okay, these are on a different level. Every boss fight's really different and unique, number one, but it's also the mechanics are well made. And some of the designs are just fantastic. I don't want to spoil too much for the boss fights, but it is really, really cool. They're challenging too, and most of them required me at least a couple tries to beat them. I'd literally say almost every boss fight is above a 7 out of 10, which is really impressive. If only I was getting more than fucking 10 frames in the fight, it could have been more enjoyable. But to me, what I think is special about this game and truly makes it great is the fact that this game has incredible non-linear replayability. What if I told you that your game run is going to be completely different from your friend who started the same time as you? Everything you saw, all the items you found, the dungeons, secret passages, certain world bosses, objectives, you may or may never see the things that you saw the first time you played when you played Remnant 2. There are so many secrets, side objectives, quests, and things to discover. So many times I was confused if I was even still completing the main fucking objective because I was so sidetracked with some random item that I found behind some crate that took me on a 20-minute adventure that I would have never started if I didn't go in that room. Very few games, I feel, put this level of detail into replayability, but this game definitely cares about it. And I think we should all recognize how you can really come back to this game so many times and enjoy it over and over again. I think maybe even more than a typical Souls game. Yeah, and even though the combat and abilities are, alright, kind of bland, there are tons of different classes to choose from in this game called archetypes. Now, when you load into the game, you're going to be disappointed to see that there are only 4 archetypes to choose from. But you'll learn throughout the game by completing certain objectives, 6 more archetypes can be unlocked. So that is a lot of different playstyles within this game. Some of these archetypes are super sick. When it comes to Remnant's graphics, I know a lot of people say that they like the aesthetic, but I actually don't fuck with these graphics at all. To me, they just feel really flat and uninspired. It feels like it's all like basic Unreal Engine 4, like, you know, default assets. I just feel like there's no really art direction for the game. And even though you may like the style and you know, the enemies look cool and all, the actual environments to me always just felt a little bit dust. That's really the only way I can describe it. Like, it seems like the most basic level of art style that you can have. Let me know what you guys think about the graphics in the comments though. So overall, the gameplay loop of Remnant 2 is pretty solid, okay? I mean, there's nothing too crazy, but it's solid. They solidified the roots from the first game and made it more expansive in most ways. While I can't say this game is really anything to tell home about, I can surely say that you should not buy it at this moment. But in time, when the game is optimized and some of these bugs are flattened out, it will surely be worth your time and money. Especially if you have a friend or two that's willing to buy it with you, because this game almost feels like it was meant to be played with friends. You know, Dark Souls games typically had co-op, but they weren't always extremely integrated. This game incentivizes co-op and has easy party systems that you can play, so you can play through the entire game with your friends easily. Remnant 2, if we're not counting the atrocious optimization and bugs, it's a 7.5 out of 10. Anyone can hop into Remnant and have fun because it's less niche, unlike Dark Souls, which, you know, requires a little bit more knowledge to get into. But I like the game a lot and I have no regrets buying it. And I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you guys think Remnant 2 is a good game that's worth the $50 price tag, or do you think it just needs more overall? Without further ado, guys, I hope you did enjoy this review of Remnant 2. I'm Treylo. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.